November 8, 1942. Sidi Bou Zid, Tunisia, North Africa. Morning sun casts long shadows across rocky terrain as Obergefreiter Wilhelm Schmidt crouches behind a stone wall, Karabiner 98K rifle gripped tight in both hands. The bolt feels familiar after 3 years of service. Load 1 round, fire, pull back the bolt handle, eject the spent casing, push forward, load the next round, aim, fire again. This is the rhythm of war he knows, the rhythm that carried German infantry across Poland, France, and deep into Russia. 5 rounds in the internal magazine, fired one at a time, each requiring manual cycling of the bolt. Across the dusty field, American infantrymen advance in a skirmish line. Schmidt has been told these Americans are inexperienced, soft, unprepared for real combat. Their equipment is supposedly inferior, their training inadequate. What happens in the next 60 seconds will prove those assessments catastrophically wrong. The Americans open fire. The sound is unlike anything Schmidt has experienced. Not the familiar crack-pause crack of bolt-action rifles, but a sustained roar of semi-automatic fire that doesn't stop. 8 rounds fired as quickly as the trigger can be pulled. No pausing to work a bolt, no interruption in fire, just continuous aimed shots. While Schmidt manages to fire perhaps 3 rounds, the American soldier opposite him has already emptied his entire 8-round clip and is reloading. This is the M1 Garand rifle, and it's about to systematically demolish German infantry doctrine. The psychological impact on German soldiers, trained to believe in the superiority of Germanic arms and tactics, will prove as consequential as the weapon's actual firepower. This isn't just a story of technological advantage, it's about complete tactical transformation forced upon an entire military establishment. The genesis of German confidence lies in military tradition stretching back centuries. The Karabiner 98K, adopted on June 21, 1935, represents the pinnacle of bolt-action rifle development. Accurate out to 550 yards with iron sights, reliable in mud and frozen conditions, simple enough for conscripts to maintain. The K-98K embodies everything a military rifle should be, according to German thinking. It fires the powerful 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser cartridge, capable of penetrating substantial cover. In trained hands, the K-98K has conquered most of Europe. German military doctrine emphasizes aimed fire from prepared positions. Infantry training stresses the importance of each round being carefully placed. A skilled German soldier can fire approximately 15 aimed rounds per minute from his K-98K, working the bolt with practiced efficiency. This seems adequate when facing Polish, French, and British troops armed with similar bolt-action weapons. The British Lee Enfield with its 10-round magazine can fire somewhat faster, but German officers consider this a trade-off against accuracy. When American forces enter major combat operations in North Africa in November 1942, during Operation Torch, German intelligence has prepared assessments of American equipment. These reports paint a picture of industrial abundance but military inexperience. American infantry, the assessments claim, rely too heavily on firepower and too little on tactical skill. The M1 Garand appears in these reports as a semi-automatic rifle of interest, but not particular concern. German analysts note its 8-round capacity and self-loading mechanism, but point out it's heavier than the K-98K at approximately 9.5 pounds compared to 8.2. The general assessment concludes that while the M1 offers higher volume of fire, it sacrifices accuracy and reliability inherent in simpler bolt-action mechanisms. Yet American forces have already been using the M1 Garand in combat since December 8, 1941, when Japanese forces invaded the Philippines the morning after Pearl Harbor. M1 rifles, shipped between August and November 1941, equipped the U.S. Army's Philippine Division and elite Philippine scouts. These soldiers use their Garands effectively enough that Japanese troops reportedly believe they face machine gun fire. General Douglas MacArthur cabled in February 1942, praising the rifle's performance in the dust and dirt of foxhole fighting. By the time German forces face Americans in North Africa, the M1 Garand has proven itself through nearly a year of brutal jungle combat. The reality encountered on North African plains shatters German assumptions with brutal efficiency. Schmidt's unit establishes defensive positions expecting to stop American advances with disciplined aimed fire. When Americans attack, the volume of return fire is overwhelming. Not machine gun fire, which Germans expect and know how to handle, but rifle fire, continuous sustained rifle fire. German soldiers fire, work the bolt, acquire the target again, fire, perhaps 15 rounds per minute from trained soldiers. But each American is firing 30 to 40 rounds per minute, hitting their targets. Germans cannot suppress them. Every time they raise their heads to fire, multiple rounds come back immediately. The mathematics are undeniable. In a 2-minute engagement, a German soldier with a Ka-98K might fire 30 aimed rounds. An American with an M1 Garand could fire 80 rounds in the same period. More critically, the German soldier has to break his sight picture, work the bolt, reacquire his target, and fire. The American simply pulls the trigger 8 times in rapid succession, his aim barely disturbed by the rifle's modest recoil. The M1 Garand's semi-automatic operation relies on a gas-operated system. As a round fires, propellant gases are diverted through a port in the barrel into a cylinder below. This gas drives a piston that cycles the action, ejecting the spent cartridge and chambering a new round. The entire process takes a fraction of a second. The rifle's action remains closed between shots, maintaining barrel-to-sight alignment. Accuracy doesn't suffer despite rapid fire. Testing at Springfield Armory demonstrates the M1 can maintain 4-minute of angle groups, 4 inches of spread at 100 yards. Many production rifles perform significantly better. General George S. Patton, in a letter dated January 26, 1945, to Major General Levin H. Campbell, Jr., Chief of Ordnance, writes, "In my opinion, the M1 rifle is the greatest battle implement ever devised." This isn't hyperbole. Patton understands the rifle has fundamentally changed infantry combat. Soldier armed with an M1 Garand possesses firepower equivalent to multiple riflemen, with bolt-action weapons, without sacrificing accuracy, reliability, or effective range. By mid-1943, the United States Army is equipping entire divisions with M1 Garands. During World War II, from 1937 through 1945, approximately 4,400,000 M1 rifles are manufactured. Springfield Armory in Massachusetts produces 3,526,922 rifles, while Winchester Repeating Arms in Connecticut manufactures 513,880. Production reaches such levels that by D-Day in June 1944, virtually every American rifleman carries an M1 Garand. This represents unprecedented achievement, an entire military force numbering in the millions armed with semi-automatic rifles, while opponents still carry bolt-action weapons. The M1 Garand's technical specifications tell only part of the story. The rifle fires the 30-06 Springfield cartridge, a powerful round that has served American forces since 1906. The cartridge propels a 150-grain bullet at approximately 2,800 feet per second, delivering substantial energy at extended ranges. The rifle feeds from an 8-round in-block clip, a metal clip inserted directly into the rifle's action. When the last round fires, the clip automatically ejects with a distinctive metallic ping. While some fear this sound might alert enemies, combat veterans universally report that battle noise makes the ping inaudible beyond a few yards. The rifle's reliability becomes legendary. Exposed to North African dust, Italian mud, Northern European cold, and later Korean winter conditions, the M1 functions with minimal maintenance. Field stripping requires no tools. The operating rod and bolt can be removed for cleaning in minutes, then reassembled quickly. German observers consistently note this reliability with respect and frustration. German defensive doctrine relies heavily on machine guns providing suppressive fire, while riflemen engage targets with careful aimed shots. The MG-34 and later MG-42 machine guns are excellent weapons, but they require crews, ammunition bearers, and are vulnerable to artillery. The M1 Garand changes this calculus. American infantry squads, each rifleman armed with a Garand, can generate firepower approaching that of German machine gun teams. More critically, this firepower is distributed across the entire squad. Suppressing an American squad requires suppressing 8 or 9 individually armed soldiers. The Italian campaign from September 1943 onward provides German forces extensive experience fighting American troops. From Salerno landings through brutal fighting toward Rome, German infantry find themselves consistently outshot by American riflemen. A March 1944 report from the 94th Infantry Division, captured after Rome falls, notes that encounters with American infantry typically result in Germans being pinned down by rifle fire, even when Germans hold superior positions. The report recommends increased machine gun allocation to compensate for American advantage in infantry firepower. The German military establishment recognizes the problem and attempts solutions. The G41, introduced in 1941, is Germany's first attempt at a semi-automatic infantry rifle. 2 competing designs emerge, the G41 from Mauser and G41W from Walther. Both prove deeply flawed. German specifications mandate no gas port be drilled in the barrel, fearing premature wear. This forces designers to use complex gas trap systems at the muzzle. These systems prove unreliable, fouling easily and adding unnecessary weight. The rifles are complicated to manufacture and maintain. Production remains limited, with estimates ranging from 6,000 to 15,000 total units produced before the design is abandoned. German designers study captured Soviet SVT-40 rifles and acknowledge that the gas port system they had rejected actually works. The result is the Gewehr 43, introduced in October 1943. This weapon incorporates a simpler gas system and detachable 10-round magazine. It's lighter and more reliable than the G41 series. Production totals approximately 402,713 rifles by war's end, with about 53,435 fitted with telescopic sights for designated marksmen. The G43 is capable, appreciated by soldiers who receive it. However, it arrives too late and in too few numbers. For every 50 Kar-98K rifles produced, only 1 G43 is manufactured. The vast majority of German infantry continue carrying bolt-action rifles until war's end. Even soldiers who receive the G43 find it's not equivalent to the M1 Garand. The German rifle, while effective, is more complicated, more difficult to maintain in field conditions, and suffers from parts availability issues as German industry comes under increasing strain. The fundamental problem is that Germany entered war without an effective semi-automatic infantry rifle and never catches up. The impact of the M1 Garand extends beyond simple firepower. The rifle changes how American infantry fight. Training emphasizes rapid target acquisition and continuous fire. American infantry tactics assume every rifleman can put substantial fire on target quickly. Squads advance by fire and maneuver, with half the squad laying down covering fire, while the other half moves. The volume of fire from M1 Garands makes this tactic devastatingly effective. At Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944, the 352nd Infantry Division defends fortified positions on the bluffs. This full-strength 12,000-man division occupies what should be nearly impregnable positions, excellent fields of fire, reinforced concrete emplacements, and interlocking machine gun positions. When Americans reach the base of the bluffs, their fire is overwhelming. Every man has a semi-automatic rifle and uses it continuously. German defenders cannot maintain aimed fire because incoming rounds are too numerous. Machine gun crews are targeted by dozens of rifles simultaneously. The Normandy fighting in June and July 1944 provides German infantry extensive exposure to American firepower. In confined hedgerow spaces where combat occurs at ranges under 100 yards, the M1 Garand's rapid fire proves decisive. Traditional German tactics, a few riflemen covering a position while others maneuver, no longer work. Covering fire from M1 Garands is too heavy, too sustained, forcing German troops to keep their heads down. Statistical analysis conducted by the US Army's Historical Division after the war, examining after-action reports and casualty data, reveals that American infantry squads inflict casualties at rates significantly higher than expected, based on their numbers. While many factors contribute, artillery, air superiority, and logistics, the consistent advantage in infantry firefights points clearly to the M1 Garand's role. American infantrymen can expect to win engagements even when outnumbered, provided they have reasonable cover and adequate ammunition. The German Army's solution comes in the form of the Sturmgewehr 44, the world's first true assault rifle firing an intermediate cartridge, the 7.92 by 33mm Kurzm, a 30-round magazine in either semi-automatic or fully automatic mode. The G44 represents revolutionary thinking. Approximately 425,977 are produced, mostly in 1944 and 1945. But like the G43, the G44 arrives too late and in insufficient numbers. Most German infantry never see one. Those who do often lack adequate ammunition as Germany's industrial capacity crumbles. The M1 Garand's technical evolution begins long before World War II. John Cantius Garand, born January 1, 1888, in Saint-Rémy de Napierville, Quebec, Canada, moves to the United States with his family in 1899. He begins working at Springfield Armory on November 4, 1919, devoting nearly 2 decades to perfecting his semi-automatic rifle design. Early prototypes use different operating systems and calibers. The US Army originally favors a .276 caliber cartridge offering better ballistics than .3006, but General Douglas MacArthur, then Army Chief of Staff, insists on retaining .3006 to utilize existing ammunition stocks and maintain compatibility with machine guns. This decision, made in 1932, delays adoption but ultimately proves sound. Garand continues refining his design through the early 1930s. The rifle undergoes extensive testing at Aberdeen Proving Ground, and Springfield Armory problems are identified and corrected. The gas system is simplified from an early gas trap design to a simpler gas port system. The trigger mechanism is refined, the stock design improved for better ergonomics. On January 9, 1936, the rifle is officially adopted as the US rifle, caliber .30 M1. Initial production is slow, with only a few thousand rifles manufactured in 1937 and 1938. Production accelerates as war looms, reaching 600 rifles per day by January 1941. The M1 Garand serves American forces through World War II, the Korean War, and into early Vietnam years. It's not officially replaced as the standard service rifle until the M14 is adopted in 1957, designated as replacement on March 26, 1958, with first deliveries to troops beginning July 1959. Full transition across all units takes until 1961. Even then, M1 Garands remain in use with Reserve and National Guard units into the 1970s. The M1 Garand's psychological impact on German soldiers manifests in profound ways. The weapon represents technological superiority that contradicts everything they've been taught about American capabilities. German soldiers have been conditioned by propaganda to believe in Germanic technological and tactical superiority. When individual German infantrymen, properly equipped and well-trained, find themselves unable to win firefights against individual American infantrymen, the myth of superiority collapses. After World War II, detailed studies of small unit actions consistently show American infantry inflicting disproportionate casualties in firefights. The rifle each soldier carries makes measurable difference in combat effectiveness. American casualties from German rifle fire are proportionally lower, another indicator of the M1's effectiveness. German attempts to compensate through superior tactics and positioning work only partially. Eventually, the sheer volume of aimed fire from American infantry finds targets, suppresses defensive positions, and enables American maneuver elements to close with and destroy German positions. The M1 Garand's legacy extends beyond World War II into modern firearms development. The principle it demonstrates that infantry benefit from self-loading rifles increasing their rate of fire without sacrificing accuracy becomes foundational to post-war weapon development. Every modern infantry rifle, from the AK-47 to the M16 to current assault rifles, owes conceptual debt to the M1 Garand. It proves that semi-automatic operation isn't just feasible for military rifles, but essential. The story of German infantry encountering American forces armed with M1 Garands represents a moment when technological advantage meets traditional military excellence and demonstrates that superior technology matters profoundly. German infantry training, tactical doctrine, and individual soldier quality are excellent by objective measures, but excellence with inferior weapons produces inferior results. The M1 Garand gives American infantrymen a tool, allowing them to fight effectively even when outnumbered, to win firefights even facing veteran troops, and to advance against fortified positions that should be nearly impregnable. From the Philippines to North Africa, from Sicily to Normandy, from the hedgerows to the Rhine, the M1 Garand serves faithfully and effectively. It earns its reputation as one of the finest military rifles ever designed, and Patton's famous praise is fully justified. German soldiers learn through hard experience on battlefields across multiple theaters that American infantry firepower represents a fundamental tactical challenge their bolt-action rifles cannot overcome. The M1 Garand demonstrates that warfare has entered a new era. The days of massed infantry armed with bolt-action rifles are over. Semi-automatic rifles are the future, and the M1 Garand makes that clear to militaries worldwide. German infantry, brave and well-trained as they are, fight with equipment that puts them at disadvantage in the most fundamental infantry task: shooting the enemy before the enemy shoots you. The mathematics remain constant throughout the war. In the time required for a German soldier to fire 3 carefully aimed shots from his Kar 98K, an American soldier with his M1 Garand can fire 8. When both soldiers are equally trained and skilled, the American hits 2 to 3 times as many targets. In squad-level engagements, this difference becomes overwhelming. The M1 Garand gives American infantry numerical superiority and firepower even when German forces outnumber them in actual soldiers. German military theorists studying their defeats in the post-war period consistently identify the firepower disparity as critical. Former Generaloberst Hasso von Manteuffel, who commanded the 5th Panzer Army during the Battle of the Bulge beginning December 16, 1944, writes in post-war memoirs that American infantry firepower exceeded German infantry firepower even when German forces held defensive positions. The human cost of the firepower imbalance appears in casualty statistics. While many factors affect casualty rates, gun and artillery, air power, tactics, and terrain studies of small unit actions consistently show American infantry inflicting disproportionate casualties in firefights. The rifle each soldier carries makes measurable difference. German casualties from rifle fire are significant throughout the war, and the M1 Garand deserves substantial credit. In final analysis, the M1 Garand's impact on World War II extends far beyond technical specifications. It represents American industrial foresight, engineering excellence, and commitment to providing superior equipment to soldiers. While Germany struggles with complex semi-automatic rifle programs that never reach fruition in meaningful numbers, America has equipped its entire military with proven, reliable semi-automatic rifles before entering the war. This advantage, multiplied across millions of soldiers and thousands of engagements, contributes materially to Allied victory. The distinctive sound of an M1 Garand firing, the metallic clang of its clip ejecting, the sight of American infantry advancing with rifles at ready, these become synonymous with Allied victory in Europe and the Pacific. German soldiers learn to recognize and respect that sound, knowing it means they face opponents who can deliver overwhelming firepower quickly and accurately. The M1 Garand is indeed the greatest battle implement ever devised, and its superiority over the Kar-98K is demonstrated conclusively on battlefields from 1941 through 1945. The rifle doesn't win the war alone. Victory requires combined arms, air superiority, industrial might, and the courage of millions. But at the squad level, where soldiers actually fight and die, the M1 Garand provides clear and measurable advantage that German infantry cannot effectively counter. That advantage makes difference in countless engagements, saves American lives, and helps bring the war to swifter conclusion than might otherwise have occurred. The M1 Garand stands as testament to what properly designed military equipment can achieve. It proves that investing in soldier capabilities, giving them the best possible tools, pays dividends in combat effectiveness and mission success. The rifle serves American military for over 2 decades, equipping soldiers in 3 major conflicts. Its influence on subsequent rifle design continues to this day. For German infantry who face it in combat, the M1 Garand represents an unpleasant lesson in technological reality. Superior equipment in skilled hands makes profound difference in the outcome of battle.